Have you ever promised yourself you would change and then watched the same old habit win again? And have you ever wondered why your willpower feels strong in the morning but disappears the moment life presses the right button? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are stepping into a topic that sounds intense but is actually one of the most practical teachings you can bring into everyday life. Self-mastery. Not the fake version where you try to look disciplined on the outside while you are fighting chaos on the inside. Real self-mastery is when your mind stops betraying your values. It is when your emotions stop driving the car while you sit in the back seat pretending you are fine. It is when you can choose your response even when you are tired, triggered, or tempted. And the reason most people fail at self-mastery is not because they are weak. It is because they are fighting the wrong enemy. They think the enemy is laziness, or a lack of motivation, or a lack of talent. But the deeper enemy is the set of invisible hindrances that quietly control the mind long before you make a decision. If you do not see these hindrances, you will keep blaming yourself. If you learn to see them, you can train beyond them. So today we will walk through 5 hindrances that commonly block self-mastery, and we will translate them into real life. Not as theory, but as scenes you recognize. The goal is not to judge yourself. The goal is to understand the machinery of the mind so you can stop being dragged by it. Let us begin with a confession that almost everyone shares but almost nobody says out loud. Most of us are not defeated by big dramatic problems. We are defeated by small repeated moments. A tiny impulse, a tiny excuse, a tiny story, a tiny comfort choice, a tiny avoidance. And then the day is gone, the week is gone, the year is gone. And we look back and wonder how our life became a collection of half-finished intentions. Self-mastery is the art of honoring the moment, because the moment is where your future is built. Now imagine a person named Jordan. Jordan is smart, capable, and full of dreams. Jordan wants to wake up earlier, train the body, focus on studies, stop procrastinating, stop snapping at family, stop scrolling late at night. Jordan is not lacking ambition. Jordan is lacking mastery. Every Sunday night Jordan makes a plan. Every Monday Jordan starts strong. And then Tuesday arrives with stress, a difficult interaction, a small failure, a wave of boredom, a feeling of loneliness. And suddenly Jordan is back in the old pattern. Snacks, scrolling, excuses, delay, anger, sleep too late. Repeat. Jordan feels ashamed. Jordan thinks I am broken. I am lazy. I am undisciplined. But here is the truth. Jordan is not broken. Jordan is simply being run by hindrances. The first hindrance is distraction. Distraction is not just being busy. Distraction is the inability to stay with one thing long enough to create depth. It is the mind constantly chasing novelty, because novelty gives a quick dopamine reward without requiring real effort. Distraction is also the mind refusing to sit with discomfort, because discomfort feels like danger to the nervous system. Distraction can look like a phone, but it is deeper than a phone. It is the habit of escaping the present moment. Jordan's, it's down to study. The first 2 minutes feel fine. Then the mind whispers, check one thing. Just one. Jordan checks. A small video appears. Another appears. 20 minutes vanish. Jordan feels guilty. The guilt feels uncomfortable. So the mind suggests another escape. Something fun. Something easy. Something that makes the guilt disappear for a moment. Jordan obeys again. This cycle is not about information. It is about emotion regulation. Distraction is the cheap medicine the mind uses to avoid feeling something it does not know how to hold. So how do you train past distraction? First, you have to stop treating it like a moral failure. Distraction is a conditioned habit. It is a pattern, and patterns can be retrained. Second, you have to build attention like you build muscle. Small sets, repeated daily. Choose one practice. 5 minutes of focused breath, 10 minutes of reading without switching. One task with the phone out of reach. 1 Militan without scrolling. Every time you notice the urge to switch, label it quietly as switching urge, and return. That return is the actual training, not the perfect focus, the return. Third, you have to learn to sit with boredom. This sounds small, but it is huge. Boredom is the doorway to depth. Most people cannot create mastery because they cannot tolerate the first layer of boredom that appears before the mind settles. They quit too early. They escape. They call it a lack of motivation. But the truth is they are addicted to stimulation. When you learn to stay with boredom without panicking, your attention becomes strong. When attention becomes strong, self-mastery becomes possible. Now the second hindrance is emotional reactivity. Reactivity is when an emotion arises and you become it. You do not feel anger. You are anger. You do not feel anxiety. You are anxiety. You do not feel jealousy. You are jealousy. Reactivity is not the emotion itself. Reactivity is the loss of choice. Jordan comes home tired. A family member says something simple, maybe not even cruel, just a familiar comment. And suddenly Jordan snaps. Words fly. Tone sharpens. Doors close. Later Jordan feels regret. Jordan thinks, why did I do that again? But in the moment, it felt automatic. This is how reactivity works. The trigger is like a spark. The stored fuel is inside the nervous system. The explosion is not created by the spark alone. It is created by the fuel. Where does the fuel come from? Often it comes from unmet needs, old wounds, chronic stress, sleep deprivation, and the habit of suppressing emotions until they burst. Many people try to master themselves by forcing calmness. But forcing calmness is not mastery. It is suppression. And suppression is just delay. Real mastery begins with awareness of the body, because emotions are not just ideas. Emotions are physical patterns. Tight chest, hot face, racing heart, shallow breath. When you learn to notice these signals early, you can intervene early. Jordan begins practicing a simple pause. When the body signals reactivity, Jordan takes one breath before speaking. Just one breath. At first Jordan fails constantly, but over time Jordan notices something. That breath creates a tiny gap. And in that gap Jordan can choose a different response. A softer tone. A boundary without attack. Silence. Walking away for a minute. Coming back later. That tiny gap is the seed of self-mastery. Another part of training reactivity is learning to name the emotion without judgment. Anger is here. Fear is here. Shame is here. Naming is not magical, but it recruits the observing mind. When the observing mind is present, you are less likely to be possessed. Also, compassion matters here. Not soft excuses, but compassion as understanding. When you understand that your nervous system is reacting from conditioning, you stop adding shame. Shame fuels more reactivity. Understanding calms the system. Calm makes wise action possible. Now the third hindrance is laziness and resistance. This one is misunderstood. Laziness is not always a love of doing nothing. Sometimes laziness is hidden fear. Fear of failing. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of discovering limits. So the mind chooses avoidance, because avoidance protects the ego. Jordan wants to train the body. Jordan wants to write. Jordan wants to practice a skill. But each time Jordan rises, a heavy resistance appears. The mind says not now. Later. You deserve rest. You need more information first. You are not ready. You will start when conditions are perfect. This is resistance dressed as reason. Buddhist practice offers a very sharp insight here. The mind loves comfort, and comfort can become a prison. The path is not to hate comfort. The path is to stop worshiping comfort. So how do you train resistance? You lower the entry barrier. You make the practice small enough that resistance cannot win. 2 minutes of exercise. 1 paragraph written. 1 page read. 1 push-up. 1 stretch. one small act. Then you focus on consistency rather than intensity, because consistency breaks the illusion that you need a special mood to act. If you only act when motivated, you are not free. If you can act even when unmotivated, you are building mastery. Jordan creates a rule, not a huge rule, a simple one. Every day, no matter what, Jordan does the smallest version of the habit. Some days it is tiny. Some days it expands naturally. But the key is the identity shift. Jordan becomes someone who shows up. This is important. Self-mastery is not about heroic bursts. It is about reliable alignment. Now, the fourth hindrance is doubt and a fragmented identity. Doubt here does not mean healthy questioning. It means inner sabotage. The voice that says this will not work. You will fail anyway. Others are better. You are behind. You are not built for this. Doubt is often the mind trying to protect you from disappointment by stopping you from trying. Jordan starts strong, then sees someone else succeeding faster. Immediately the mind compares. Jordan thinks, I will never catch up. Why try? Then Jordan quits. Comparison is a form of doubt. It is doubt disguised as realism. Another form of doubt is spiritual doubt. The doubt that wisdom is even possible. People hear about calm mind, discipline, and they think that is for special people. Not for me. My mind is too messy. My life is too chaotic. I am too late. This doubt is toxic because it becomes self-fulfilling. So how do you train doubt? You return to evidence, not fantasy. Evidence. Jordan looks back at small wins. The days Jordan meditated for 5 minutes. The days Jordan studied well. The days Jordan did not react. The days Jordan reigned. Even if those days are not perfect, they are proof that change is possible. Then Jordan sets process goals rather than outcome goals. Outcome goals can feed doubt because outcomes are uncertain. Process goals are controllable. I will practice 10 minutes. I will write 1 page. I will speak gently once today. I will pause before reacting. These are measurable. They build confidence. Also, Jordan practices right view, which in Buddhist language means seeing reality clearly. Reality is that growth is gradual. Reality is that conditioning is strong. Reality is that setbacks are part of training. When you accept this, doubt loses its power because you stop expecting instant transformation. Now, the fifth hindrance is the hunger for control and the attachment to outcome. This one is subtle because it often looks like ambition. It looks like high standards. It looks like caring. But underneath it can be anxiety. The mind wants to control the future to feel safe. It wants guarantees. It wants certainty. It wants people to behave. It wants results now. Jordan works hard on a project. Jordan wants recognition. Jordan wants success. Jordan wants validation. When it does not come, Jordan collapses. Jordan becomes bitter. Jordan loses motivation. Why? Because Jordan was not acting from devotion to the work. Jordan was acting to buy a feeling. This is where an ancient principle becomes extremely practical. You can give yourself fully to the action, but you cannot own the outcome. When you make peace dependent on outcome, you become fragile. When you focus on the action itself, you become steady. This does not mean you stop aiming for outcomes. It means you stop letting outcomes define your identity. So Jordan starts practicing a different approach. Jordan focuses on showing up, refining, learning, improving. Jordan celebrates effort. Jordan learns from feedback. Jordan separates self-worth from results. Jordan says, I will do my part and let reality do its part. This is a powerful shift because it reduces anxiety. Anxiety is often the mind trying to live in the future. When you return to action in the present, anxiety softens. Now let us weave these 5 hindrances into one continuous story. Because real life does not show them one by one. They come together like a storm. Jordan wakes up with a plan. The first hindrance appears. Distraction. The phone. The mind says, check quickly. Jordan checks. Time disappears. Then resistance appears. Jordan says, I already wasted time. So the day is ruined. That is doubt. Jordan feels shame. Shame triggers emotional reactivity later. Jordan snaps at someone. Then the hunger for control appears. Jordan rises to force the day back into order, becomes impatient, and collapses into more distraction. This is the cycle. Now what changes the cycle is not one big heroic moment. It is a new habit of awareness. Jordan learns to see the first small shift, the very first moment the mind tries to escape, and Jordan practices returning. Again and again. Jordan learns to see the body signal before the outburst, and Jordan practices pausing. Again and again. Jordan learns to see the excuse before the avoidance, and Jordan practices doing the smallest version. Again and again. Jordan learns to see the comparison thought before quitting, and Jordan practices returning to the process. Again and again. Jordan learns to see the craving for outcome before despair, and Jordan practices devotion to action. Again and again. This is how self-mastery is built. Not by fighting yourself with hatred, but by training yourself with clarity. Now, I want to add a deeper layer that makes this more than self-help. In Buddhist training, self-mastery is not only about productivity or success. It is about liberation. Liberation from compulsive craving. Liberation from destructive reactivity. Liberation from ignorance. Why does this matter? Because without mastery, you can harm others without intending to. You can hurt people with words. You can break trust. You can waste your own potential. You can live a small life controlled by impulses. With mastery, you become a safer person to be around. You become more compassionate, more reliable, more honest. You create less suffering in the world. And that is the real point. Let us talk about compassion here. Because self-mastery without compassion can turn into ego. Someone becomes disciplined and then looks down on others. That is not mastery. That is pride. True mastery includes humility. You see your own hindrances and you understand others have them too. You become less judgmental. You become more patient. You become more willing to help. There is also the idea of karma, cause and effect. Every time you feed a hindrance, it grows stronger. Every time you resist feeding it, it weakens. This is not mystical. It is neurological. It is psychological. It is habit. So each small act matters. Each time Jordan chooses not to scroll, attention strengthens. Each time Jordan pauses before speaking, reactivity weakens. Each time Jordan does the small habit, resistance loses power. Each time Jordan refuses comparison, confidence grows. Each time Jordan releases outcome obsession, peace becomes more stable. Now, let me offer you a practical training sequence you can carry into your next day, expressed as a story rather than a checklist. You wake up. Before the phone, you sit up and feel one breath. Just one. You are training attention. You begin your first task. You notice the urge to switch. You label it. Switching urge. You return. Someone irritates you. You feel heat in the body. You take one breath. You speak slower. You choose the clean response. You face a task you do not want to do. Resistance appears. You do the smallest version. You start. Starting is victory. You see someone else doing better. The mind compares. You return to your own path. You say, I will train today, and let tomorrow be tomorrow. You work. You do not beg the outcome to prove your worth. You treat the work as practice. You let results be feedback, not identity. This is a life built on mastery. Now, I want to speak to the part of you that might be thinking, this sounds good, but my mind is too wild. My life is too chaotic. I have tried and failed. Listen, failing is part of training. If you never fail, you are not training at the edge of your conditioning. Self-mastery is not never falling. It is falling and returning. Falling and returning. That return is the path. There is a reason So many wisdom traditions talk about returning. Because the mind wanders, the heart hardens, the ego grabs. Returning is the sacred act of coming back to what matters. And that is why meditation is so central. Meditation is not an escape. It is the gym for returning. Use it. The mind wanders. You return. Use it. The mind wanders. You return. And then in daily life, you do the same. The mind reacts. You return. The mind craves. You return. The mind doubts. You return. Over time, the returning becomes natural. The mind becomes less sticky. The heart becomes more stable. Now, let us close with a reflection that brings this into your personal story. Think of one area where you feel out of control. Maybe it is anger. Maybe it is procrastination. Maybe it is addiction to the phone. Maybe it is anxiety. Maybe it is people-pleasing. Now ask yourself, which hindrance is leading it? Is it distraction that prevents depth? Is it reactivity that steals choice? Is it resistance that blocks action? Is it doubt that kills consistency? Is it outcome attachment that creates fear? Do not judge. Just identify. And then choose one small practice that addresses it. One breath before reacting. One phone-free study block. One tiny habit action. One process goal. One moment of letting go. Small. Daily. Honest. That is how self-mastery begins. Thank you for being here. If you recognized yourself in any of these hindrances, you are not alone. Share in the comments which one challenges you the most and what you want to train next. Support the channel by subscribing, liking, and commenting so we can keep building a community that values wisdom over impulse and compassion over ego. Keep training, keep returning, and I will see you in the next one.